Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Ecoffee with Experts. I'm your host, Matt Fraser. And on today's show, I have with me a very special guest, Laura Prael. She is the founder and director of LEP Digital, a multi-award-winning international digital content marketing agency based in Gosford, Australia. You should check it out. Look it up on the map. It looks like it's a little piece of heaven. But anyway, she has a Bachelor's of Arts degree from the University of Newcastle and a Master's in Public Relations and Advertising from the University of South Wales. Laura is also an accomplished award-winning speaker, copywriter, digital marketer, and entrepreneur with broad experience working on campaigns for organizations including Google Australia, Westpac, Kellogg's Australia, Sanitarium, Avon, NT Tourism, and New South Wales State Government. When not working on marketing campaigns for clients, Laura enjoys spending time taking walks on the beach, as well as doing yoga and cooking vegetarian dishes. Laura, thank you so much for being here. Pleasure to have you on the show.
Great to be here, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, no problem. Hey, so Laura, how would your university professors describe you as a student?
Studious.
Studious. Hey, that's a good thing.
Yeah, very, very focused. I'd sit at the front of the class. I'd take a lot of notes. I'd ask questions. Yeah. And I also tried to get to know my lecturers as well.
Oh, okay.
Which a lot of other students didn't want to do.
Oh, were they just intimidated by them, or?
I think, I don't know. I think perhaps it was go to class, you leave class, you don't really talk to the lecturer. But I think because my parents were teachers, I had a unique insight into what education means and what it means to teach and how much effort these lecturers put into their classes. Absolutely. So for me, I found them interesting people.
Right on. So do you think what your parents did for a living impacted you in regards to the career path that you've chosen?
Yeah. Interestingly, because they were teachers and they were both artists, they probably didn't expect for me to go into a business style role.
Okay.
So in high school, I played piano, I did art, and I also did drama. Yeah. And I assumed that I was going to go and become an actor. And so did my parents, actually. That's what I was best at school, was acting. Yeah. I loved it. I loved it so much. So I think in their minds, they thought she's going to go be an actor or do something in the creative space. So, but obviously very proud of me with how everything worked out. And I think I lean on a lot of those artistic skills that I learned in my role today.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it takes a lot of creativity to be in digital marketing and to be a content and all of the aspects that go with it. Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that, because I laugh at this and people laugh at me, but I directed a one-act play that I took to the finals, the provincial finals, if you will. Like people go to basketball provincial finals. I took this one-act play to the finals and won an award for set design, sound design. The girl in it won an award for acting, and we did it in front of a crowd of 800 people and had them all laughing their butts off. So it's a lot of fun, isn't it, to get up in front of people and perform, if you will.
It is. Well, it's about connecting and moving an audience, which is really what you're doing in marketing.
Absolutely. Do you think the experience that you gained at the Bendon Group has helped you in your development as a digital marketer and entrepreneur?
Yeah, definitely. That was an interesting role. So it was funny. It was advertised as a communications manager, but when I started the role, I worked out it was actually an internal communications manager. Ooh, so my role was really about uniting the company, which is global. So they had offices around the world, and it was about bringing people together, rewarding and recognizing people within the company, being able to share important company news and have people be really aligned with the brand's mission. So
interesting.
That taught me a lot of skills. And at the time, we had a video production element to it. And previously the graphic design people were doing that. And they got so busy in all of the graphic design stuff that they were doing for the business, because it's a retail business. So there was a lot of, touching up models and model photos and carving out outfits and things like that. So I put my hand up and said, I'd like to learn video production. I'm happy to do it. And that's actually really where I learnt to do a lot of the video production that I now support our clients with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and Yeah, it was a really great way to unite the business, have people feel special. We used to live stream events. So if we had an event on at head office, we would live stream it with all of the other offices so they could be part of it.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, do interviews with other staff members and so forth. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and it taught me a lot about how to work with people, which I think helps in my role today as a leader.
Yeah. Do you think that it's important for people to go and work for other people first before they launch their own? I mean, you got people like Zuckerberg who quit college and now he's a billionaire, but I mean, I think he's the exception, not the rule. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like, do you think people should gain some hands-on experience in the field of the area or industry that they want to go into before just putting their own shingle out?
I think so. For me, it meant that I had a really good understanding. I worked for big businesses, and then when I started my own business, I worked for small businesses, which was interesting. And it was the first time I'd ever worked for small businesses, actually. So I came in with this big business experience. But what I gained from that is how a company works, how company structures work, who has control and power, who makes decisions, what's important to a company, what are the processes that take place. And I think that that's incredibly important when you're dealing with clients and stakeholders, that you have that understanding. Otherwise, you're coming in quite naively, I think.
Yeah.
You're not quite sure how things work, and it can be a little bit to your disadvantage, I think, if you don't have that background and experience.
I totally agree with you. And I can say that from experience as well. Have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur?
No.
Interesting.
No.
Wow.
It was never in my plan. It was never in my sight. I feel like I fell into it almost accidentally. It was kind of a series of circumstances that came together that pointed me in this direction. So I, as you said, worked for these big businesses, including Bendon, for a good part, I think about 10 years or so. And the job that I was working in at the time in Sydney, I was working really long hours because it was a global company. So I was having meetings with people from the UK and people from the US, where you are. And I was so tired, and I just felt like I wasn't as passionate as I was anymore. Coupled with that, I just met my now husband, who had his own business. So he was an entrepreneur. So I had that influence in my life at the same time. Which was interesting. And then at the same time, my father was ill, and my family are actually from the United States. And I live in Australia. My dad lived in the US, and he was ill. So I had this sense of, well, I'm going to have to spend a bit more time over the US, which is going to take me away from my job. So it was kind of this, I needed to have a little bit more work-life balance. I had this influence in my life, someone who started a business, who had a lot of tips and guidance around that. And I just wanted to help small businesses as well. I had this feeling of like, okay, I've worked for all these corporations. I've helped corporations get rich. How can I help the small businesses, people that really are really struggling with marketing? And I've got all of these skills that I've gained over the years working in big business. Maybe it's time to help them, and then I can do it from anywhere. I can do it from overseas.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask you some questions about that later on. But for now, do you think it's important to be a mentor to other entrepreneurs? Up and coming entrepreneurs?
I think it's important to help people wherever you can, whatever that looks like. Whatever that looks like. Your skill set may not be a natural mentor. It might be someone that is more about sharing information. It might be someone that's more about giving to charity, for example. But I do think that anyone who has a successful business should give back in any way that they can, and help others to succeed. I think that that's what makes the world go round. Okay.
Do you think it's important for entrepreneurs to donate their time in regards to volunteering?
I think if they can, for sure. I think especially as businesses grow, I think it helps the person at the top to feel grounded and to be grounded, to understand what's going on in their community and help where they can. So not everyone's time poor, right? And I understand that. Not everyone has time to be donating hundreds of hours to doing things, but you just do what you can. I think even if it's 1 hour a week or 1 hour a month, whatever that looks like.
Absolutely. I met this guy in Sarasota, or not, I didn't meet him. I interviewed him, and he was talking about how he would go and volunteer for the Salvation Army just once a week or a month or whatever. I can't remember how often, but just in the kitchen, just meeting people. And then he started volunteering, helping businesses or somebody, in some business organization. He was volunteering his time, and he was rubbing shoulders with other entrepreneurs, but that's not why he was doing it. It did lead to business, but that's not why he was doing it. But he said, it's always important to remember that we should give back because the community helped us, so we should help the community. So I think that's, something that's important for us to keep in mind.
That's right. And you don't want to take for granted what you can learn from others. I believe in every experience in life, you can learn something, whether that is for your business, whether that's as a person and a human, whether it's for something about your family. When I started my business, for example, I took on a part-time job as a receptionist at a gym because I just wanted a safety net. I wanted to have a part-time job that could pay the bills and help me while I started the business. But the amount of things I learned from that job, from just speaking to people day to day, from picking up weights to talking to personal trainers, you rub shoulders with all sorts of people from all walks of life. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah,
you're going outside of your natural network of people. And I feel like it's so enriching to your life.
As well as your comfort zone, would you say? Because that sounds like it was a little outside the comfort zone.
Well, I liked going to the gym, so I felt like it was my natural habitat to be in the gym. But selling was out of my comfort zone, actually, because part of that role was to sell gym memberships, and that was a little bit uncomfortable for me, and I had to learn how to do that.
Okay, so do you think that experience helped you? Because obviously being an entrepreneur, being a business owner and being in marketing, people, there is a certain amount of selling that goes into it. So did that help you? And do you see, looking back, was that an experience that helped you in regards to being able to sell your services today?
Absolutely. Something that was unexpected that came out of that part-time role was they sent us off to sales training. We went off to Sydney and listened to people talk through a step-by-step sales process. Now, everyone approaches sales differently, and a lot of that sort of stuff I thought, look, it's not going to be my style. My style is more getting to understand people, really listening, understanding their problems or challenges, and working out how I can help them. So for me, it comes from a place of wanting to help people as opposed to trying to make a quick transaction or following a step process.
Yeah. It sounds to me like, for instance, there's a book by Blair Singer called Sales Dogs. And he identifies different kinds of sales dogs. And as you were talking, it sounds to me like you're the golden retriever type of salesperson, where it's service-based. You're always wanting to help people, listen, help. Yeah. And he also talks about the bloodhound, where you're searching for what their problem is and how you can help them. And then, of course, the stereotypical pit bull, which is like a used car salesman of the aggressive person who's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a great book for anybody to read. Who's in business, as far as I'm concerned. It's an awesome book. But making sure to identify your sales style is the point I'm trying to make, and adapting to that. Although he would say that, sometimes you got to be a pit bull in order to close the sale. You can't always be nice. You got to sometimes nicely ask for the sale, but you got to be a little bold. He's talking about a little aggressive to, get that push a little bit to get that deal.
I think so. Well, you've got to have boundaries on your time as well.
Yeah.
As much as you want to help people, you can't be forever giving free information. So if the same person's coming back to you for free information over and over again, and they're not ready to make the sale, that tells me that they're just not quite ready in their customer journey or buyer journey, and they need some time. So what I'll do is I'll give them some resources to go off and do some research and do some thinking. And I tell them, come back to me when you're ready.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, what has been the biggest difference between working with large corporations and helping small businesses?
I think there's a big difference, but I think there's a really nice, rewarding sense that you changed people's lives in a really profound way. Because when you work in a big business, you are just one small part of lots of things happening. And when you work in a marketing department of a big business, you don't really talk to your customers Usually,
No.
You're not out at the coalface talking to people and really understanding how you're helping them. So you kind of don't get to see the fruits of your labor. In a way, you're just trusting that, you're getting good feedback from your boss, and you're just trusting that what you're doing is helping the company. But when you're working with small business owners and you're meeting them, sometimes you're meeting their family, you're going to their homes sometimes to, especially in the early days where it was really working with startups. Now we work with businesses that are a little bit bigger than that, but there's a really nice sense that you've changed someone's life, and the innovations that you're helping them on is impacting the community, impacting people that use their service or product. So it's a nice feeling.
It is. I agree with you. I was mentioning off camera, I had a huge impact at the business that I worked for, and seeing them have money to be able to renovate the business. And, all the salespeople are, you're realizing there's a lot of pressure though. There's what you're doing is impacting everybody, but they're also relying on you. It's like, sometimes the pressure was a lot anyway.
Yeah. And I think you I guess have to be honest with your clients as well. If something's not working, you have to quickly say, look, I don't think this is working. Let's change gears. Because you don't have the time and space and budget to keep pushing this. Some people have put their mortgages on the line. Their house mortgages down on the line to pay for marketing. So it is a lot of pressure, but I think just keeping the communication lines open, being transparent, being honest, and just really working as hard as you can to make it work.
Yeah. So what motivated you to finally put out your own shingle? And like, what was the motivate? Was it, I think maybe we touched on it, but my apologies. Was it, you talked about the different challenges of with your father's health and so on and so forth. Was it really the time constraint then and wanting to have a little bit more, I guess, work balance and freedom? I just wanted to clarify.
I think so. For sure. I think there was a natural sense that I was probably coming to an end of my role where I was, in terms of I didn't really feel challenged anymore. I felt like I was tired and maybe not feeling as rewarded as I could be. So I guess that whenever I feel like I'm losing the passion, I don't feel like it's something I should continue on. And also I think the emotional pressures of being there for my dad, feeling the guilt of I'm working all the time. I'm not giving my family the time that they need. And it's hard in a big business because you can't just work. It was back in the days where you can't just work remotely. That wasn't a thing. It was like you have to be in the office for these hours. You've got this set amount of leave, and you have to take the leave when it's right for the business. You can't take the leave when it's right for you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I think it was emotional pressures as well. And it just felt like the time was right.
Yeah. I guess my whole reason, just so you know, is just trying to give maybe other entrepreneurs a sense of, what it was like for you when you knew it was time to leave. So I think other people will be encouraged by that. That's for sure.
And you can always start small as well.
Yeah.
I started doing a few things on the weekend before I left my role. I made sure that it didn't impact my role because I was still dedicated to doing my role while I was there. But you can start small. You can start taking on a little bit of work and see how that feels. And if you feel like you're really engaged in and you feel like it's time, you can. But I don't think anyone's ever truly ready. You've just got to begin. And a mantra I love is, and we've got up on our wall in neon lights in the office, is begin anywhere. You just got to begin.
That is awesome.
Just begin.
Yeah. Just start. Yeah. That's amazing. Because I was talking to my wife, like the hardest thing about anything is starting it, but you just got to do it. Like the hardest thing to get a train going is starting a car, anything. The hardest thing is taking a first step, but sometimes you just got to just start, even if it's like you said, on the weekends or part-time or whatever the case may be. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced in the early stages of launching your agency?
I think a few things was maybe not valuing my time as much. So probably, and you do this naturally when you start a business, is you over service. You do way more than you probably need to do for clients because you want to do a good job. You want to get a good first review. you want to make sure that your service or your product is viable and it's worthwhile. So I think I probably did a lot for free, and I did a lot that I undervalued myself. And, you know, maybe looking back, I probably wouldn't have done that now. Challenges as well is when you start a business, you don't have a set pay. So obviously when you work for a company, you know what your salary is going to be. I managed that a little bit with the side part-time job at the gym, but it was hard to know when I was going to get paid, and, you know, when I was going to get another client, and would I be able to pay? I had a mortgage at the time. So
that's a lot of courage.
Yeah, it's very stressful. And in the back of my ear, I had my mum going, "Are you crazy? You had this great job that you're getting paid well, and you've thrown it all in. You know, what are you doing?" So there is that bit of doubt as, am I doing the right thing? Are people going to be proud of me? Are people going to respect what I'm doing? Because when you first tell people, sometimes people don't take it well. They go, "Oh no,
okay." They don't. No, I know.
Some people do. Some people go, "Oh, that's fantastic." But there's, you know, occasionally there'll be some people that go, "All right, good luck."
So how did you overcome those challenges of not valuing your time?
I think it helped that I had my partner at home that I could talk to about it. You know, I'd bounce off ideas. You know, I'd say, "Oh, I feel like I'm working really hard." And I found it hard at the start as well to simply ask or say, "Look, this is out of scope. This is going to be more money. I'm going to have to charge you." It's difficult to do that, especially when you've come from working in an apartment where you talk to HR if you need, you know, if you are going for a pay rise or you have a dispute with pay or something. But it's hard, I think, to initially have conversations about money to the people that have that money. You know, it's the business owner. Especially, and I found that tricky.
Yeah. Any tips that you learned along the way of having those conversations?
I think as long as you can demonstrate value. So as long as you can demonstrate value and demonstrate what you feel is the return on investment for them, you can clearly demonstrate hours. I met this woman early on at a conference that I went to who had her own marketing business for 10 years. And I said to her, how do you manage that? And she said, "Oh, well, on the invoices each month, if I've gone over, I'll actually note how many hours I've gone over so that they can see how many free hours they've had."
Oh, wow.
So that they can start to see over time
the value.
Look, I've paid for this, but you actually got all of this stuff extra. And I guess it gives you a case later, whether it's a couple months or 6 months or whatever, to say, "Look, I've been doing all this extra stuff for you. Now we're going to have to raise the rates."
That is bloody brilliant. No, that's a really good wow. That is such a good idea.
Because a lot of the time,
wish I'd known this when I was running my agency.
A lot of the time clients aren't aware of it. And a client's job and a business owner's job is to get as much as you can out of your contractors or your agency.
For as little
That's
as
their
possible.
job, for as little as possible. And they're going to keep asking you to do stuff until you say no.
Yeah.
And if you keep doing it, then
absolutely,
it's not the business owner's fault.
No, absolutely. I hear you.
Yeah.
Hey, what is your most favorite aspect of digital marketing? Like, I could say marketing in general, but because digital marketing is a part of marketing, but you know.
I love creativity, and I love when a client comes to us with a challenge, or they come to us with a set of, "Oh, I think it should be this or maybe this," and we come back to them and they go, "Wow, I never would have looked at it that way, or I never would have thought of that," or like the look on their faces or the email you get back. We designed a website recently, and it was out there. It was a website for a law firm, and it was a design that wasn't traditionally looking like a law firm. It was more like a fashion website. And so it was a big challenge for us to go, okay, how do we take inspiration from fashion websites and turn that into a law firm? We thought, this could go badly, or it could be amazing. And when we first sent it off for review, you're sort of waiting by the computer for their response. And then to have someone come back and say in capital letters, "Expletive.
This is amazing.
You've knocked this out of the park. I've shed a tear. This is the most amazing thing. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart." it's just you're like, oh, you know, you literally jump for joy. Like my team will jump and be like, oh, we did it.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool moment.
That is amazing. Do you like, is one of your favorite things, would it be fair to say content marketing? Like,
yeah, I love writing. So I was always good at writing at school, especially creative writing. It's what I studied at uni. So I love writing. Is my favorite thing to do. And that's really content marketing in essence. It's coming up with stories. It's talking about people. It's figuring out how to be unique and how to tell a brand story in a unique way. I really like that part of it.
Yeah. Did you have a interest in writing even going back to a young age? Like, I don't know what they call it in Australia, but elementary, like grades, 3 to 6 or whatever. Can you go back that far and see that you enjoyed writing even back then? Like, was it one of your favorite subjects, or did it progress later on? Or
yeah, I always liked it. My dad was an English teacher and a writer himself.
Okay.
And it's funny. He gave me feedback. I was never really into reading as much as I should be. So reading and writing go hand in hand. That you are a better writer if you read more.
I've read
my dad was an avid reader, loved reading, and he was always frustrated that I didn't like reading as much as him. I like doing things, so I like making things with my hands, and I would write as well. And when I got to high school and I started, submitting writing assignments and things, sometimes my dad would look at them before I'd send them to my teacher, and he'd say, "You know what? You write a lot better than a lot of my students at school, but there's no explanation for it because you're not reading." So it's like, I don't know where this is coming from.
Well, maybe your IQ, maybe just smart,
So it was obviously he's my dad, and I'm sure he's biased, but it was nice to get that feedback that there's something here. There's obviously something that's innate in me, that I'm good at writing, I enjoy writing, and I should pursue that in whatever career I'm doing.
Absolutely. What do you think is the most important factors to consider when developing a content strategy for your clients?
I think the most important things to work out first and foremost is, what are the goals of this? Because a lot of clients will go, we need to do marketing, or we need to do content marketing, because they've heard it. It's a buzzword. Their competitors are doing a lot of stuff, and they go, we've heard of this thing. We need to do this thing. And you need to really take a step back and go, okay, why are we doing this thing? What are your actual goals? And you try to get it beyond vanity metrics. Because sometimes they say, oh, we just want more followers, or we just want this, or we just want that. And you go,
is it going to get you more revenue?
You got to go a little bit deeper. So we like to sit down with clients and go, okay, tell me what's really going on. What's the goal behind this? What do you want to do? And then who's your audience? And a lot of clients will go, oh, everyone.
I hear that all the time. They do, don't they?
Everyone can benefit from this.
And everyone is not your client.
Yeah. So it's a lot of that investigative work of really boiling it down to, okay, there might well be a lot of people that this product or service could be useful for, but who's your ideal customer? Who's going to make the most money for your company? Be an advocate of your product and service, be a returning customer, all of that sort of stuff. So that's really important. And then from there, you can start to map out, okay, how can we help these people? Because at the heart of content marketing, it's not just straight selling. It's how do we make valuable, helpful, relevant content to improve these people's lives, help them be better at their job, be better as a parent, be better as a friend, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. And you've got to go deep with it. You've got to really get into the psyche of your client. What are your ideal client or customer? What are their fears? What are their needs?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are their challenges? So that's a great place to start.
Yeah. There's a lot of things clients don't like. When I say clients, I mean like business owners, they don't think about. They're not trained to a lot of the time. They're kind of like, well, we're good at making our product, or we're good at doing our service. Yeah. Well, when I was at the dealership, all they cared about was leads. They're like, we just want the phone to ring. And but I'm like, but we need to do this work. Like, yes, I want your phone to ring. I want the web forms to be filled out. I want the chat sessions. I want the same thing. But we can't just like turn Google ads on. And content. We need content. What are we going to say? And how do we know what to say to them if we don't know who they are and what their problem is, and so on and so forth. Like there really is a lot of work to set the foundation for a successful campaign, isn't there?
I was watching a training session yesterday about advertising and marketing. And they think now that for some purchases, especially large purchases like a car, a customer will likely go to 500 digital touch points before they buy something.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, it's not just one ad that's going to do it. It's not just a blog article. You've really got to set up and be there for all of those micro moments where a customer turns to their phone or goes to their desktop computer and Googles you or finds some information or calls the dealership. Do you have a fact sheet on this? Do you have the specs? You need to have all that content laid out. So it makes content marketing difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's just the sheer volume of stuff.
Yeah. It's a long-term play though, isn't it? It's not something that you do for instant leads. Like if a business owner came to you tomorrow and said, I need leads tomorrow, I'm going to go out of business. Well, me personally, at this point in my life, I'd be like, well, have a nice day. I can't help you.
Pretty much.
There's nothing, you've already screwed up enough. There's nothing we can really do. But, if you could do something like, anyway, you'd maybe throw up a Google Ads campaign. But the point I'm trying to make is it really is a long-term play in regards to developing that strategy, isn't it? And I mean long-term, I mean year, 2 year, 3 year.
Yeah.
So
and
how,
go ahead. I was going to say, and I think the question is, how do you deal with that with clients who want speed?
That's exactly where I was going, especially because I know that you have said that you like working with small businesses, and I've tried to work with small businesses. And when you go from working, so this is very interesting to me because I went from working with, car dealers. They have lots of money. Like they blow money. Like it's crazy, man. And it's a common thing in the in the automotive industry that they blow money. But anyway, I won't get into any exact details, but when you go from you're probably dealing with bigger budgets, but like when you go from dealing with $1.5 million, $2 million budget a year, or sometimes you're spending 40 grand a month just on Facebook ads alone. And then to go to work with someone who has $1,000 a month, like how the flip? So
it is difficult. Well, a lot of the stuff that we did to start off with was organic. So when I first started the business, it was like, okay, with a smaller budget, I'm essentially just killing my time to create a whole bunch of organic stuff, and we won't advertise. But as time has gone on, it's pretty much impossible just to do organic marketing.
I totally agree with you.
You've got to supplement it with paid advertising.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that is just where the world is going. That is where these platforms are going. So you need to have a mixture of the two. And it has meant that we have had to have tough conversations with clients over the years. And so now we really pitch ourselves as your business has to be established. If you've started the business, last week, and you don't have a budget to market, I say go and do as much as you can yourself. Yeah. For a couple of years, get it really going. Light some fires, have it take off, and then come to us when you've got a budget. Because otherwise, Because otherwise, you're going to go into a lot of debt to try to do this stuff. We don't want to take on that pressure as well of having a business fall over. So you really need to do a lot of that stuff in the start. And that's what I did as a business owner. I didn't go straight out to someone and an accountant and go, I need you to be working several hours a week to balance my books. No, I had to figure out how to do all that stuff myself because I didn't have the money. So it's about educating clients about the process, about the fact that it is going to be a long-term commitment. Nothing happens overnight. Yeah. I think the internet and media is a lot to blame, because I think business owners go, I've got this great idea. I'm going to be a millionaire overnight. I'm going to launch my website and I'm going to have 1 million sales because it's such a good product. But in reality, that is not true. It takes years to get brand awareness and customers and, all of that sort of stuff. So
you got to work your ass off.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I in that regard, it's like sometimes I'll point people to, like, I'll send them to LinkedIn Learning,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In the city I live in, with a free library card, it used to be $12 a year. You get access to LinkedIn Learning for free through the library. Now, I don't know where they get the money for it because they're raising taxes all the time, but anyway, I think they should go back to the $12 a year thing. But anyway, I make a donation just, every year. But yeah, like that's how I learned. I wanted to learn how to market. And so I went and consumed a whole bunch of content and learned how to do it. That being said, what would you recommend them? I know you said go and try and do it yourself, but is there any, I mean, I shared what I would tell people to do, but is there any other tips that you would direct them to, or places?
I think I have done the same. So if there's a specific topic that a client wants to learn about, I'd point them to some free online resources. Yeah. We give away a lot of stuff for free. We give away a lot of stuff through our social channels, but also, I'm known to have sometimes 90 minutes of strategy consultation with a new client and just giving them my time. So if they ring me up and we quickly define that we're not the right fit because maybe they don't have the budget or they're not ready or whatever that might be, I stay on the phone with them and I give them as much information as I can about how to go and solve their challenges by themselves or, using free resources, because I want to see them succeed. It's in my best interest that they succeed and then come back to us later. Yeah.
And maybe
it's good for the economy as well.
Absolutely. And you're sowing into them now. Maybe it will be reciprocated in the future, if not from them, maybe from somebody else.
Yeah, and it's just goodwill. They might remember me down the track and go, even if they don't become a client, they might go, well, you know what? They were really nice to deal with. They were a really good business. They're honest. They did what they could for me. And I think that's a nice, if you can leave people with that nice feeling, then, why not?
Yeah, as long as you can pay your bills, because if you do that every day, all day, you won't have any money in the bank.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I think, I find if I find that somebody is a bit snarky and they go, oh, well, if you're not going to, work for nothing, then, we don't want to deal with you. I won't stay on the phone for an hour and help them. I'll go, yep, totally. I respect it. I respect your decision. See you later. But most people are pretty appreciative, I think.
Yeah. So being that most small businesses are location based, would you tell them to focus on a Google business profile or whatever they're calling it nowadays?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Things like that are some basic things that you can set up for free. Your Google business profile is fantastic to have, and a lot of people aren't aware of these things. They don't know.
Are you
that
serious?
They can
even to this
up.
Day?
Mm-hmm.
My gosh.
Yep.
Wow.
Even established companies sometimes don't have one. Because it's just been missed potentially. They set up all the company's so old. Maybe it's a legacy company, maybe they started in the 80s or something. And it just was never set up. They focused on having a website and they've always outsourced stuff. And maybe the people they outsourced to never told them.
Wow. But do you think that it's as valuable for a big corporation to have a Google business profile page as it is for a plumber?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's great for SEO. I think, and not all businesses. Some businesses may not need one or may not warrant one, but it's great for reviews. It's great for a lot of people use it just to get to the business. So to simply get to the map listing or to get to the phone number. So they may be already a customer, but it's helping the customer to find information quickly. And I think that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was in the, like I said, when I was in the car dealer, I use UTM links to track the traffic specifically from that website button and a specific call tracking number. And case studies showed that the more reviews you got, it was like a snowball going down a hill. The more reviews you got, the more cars you sold and the more cars you sold, the more reviews you got. And I had to this trying to convince him to spend $300 on review software and then get the salespeople to use it, even though you're telling them it's going to make them money, was like kicking against the goads. It was so damn frustrating.
And you know what? I think people are scared of reviews a lot of the time. They go, oh, what if someone puts a bad review? What if someone gives me 4 stars? Exactly.
Yeah. Listen,
exactly.
For those people out there, there's no such thing as a perfect business. You're going to screw up sometimes and you're going to get a 2-star review. It's how you deal with it, with the way you respond to that 2-star review and the way you fix it. There have been people who have done that in case studies that you can look at that have knocked it out of the park, you know? And anybody that has all 5-star reviews, you know, those are all either fake. They paid somebody to do it. They got their family to do it, their friends to do it, or whatever. Nobody's perfect business, but yeah, you know, that's absolutely. So reviews are so powerful, and testimonials in marketing are so powerful that, you know, to be able to have a system in place to do that is monumental to me. It's a
silent sales force.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, do you think that okay, so number one, do you think that people should view their websites more as an online salesperson rather than a brochure?
Yes. I think people make a mistake a lot of the time is thinking their website is all about them. So my role of the website is to talk about myself, to talk about all the great stuff that we do, and to convince you that our stuff is awesome. But really what your website is to be a reflection of what your customers' needs are. Like, we hear you, we understand you, we know what your challenges are already.
It's about making it about them.
Exactly.
They are the hero. They are the hero and you're the guide. You know, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Donald Miller's book, Story Brand.
No.
Oh, wow. You should read that book. It's, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but what you're saying is exactly what he talks about in his book, Story Brand, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, and how you need to make your website about them. And they're the hero, and you're talking to them about the journey, and you're talking about the problem that they have, and they're the Luke Skywalker, and you're the Yoda, and their problem is Darth Vader, and you're trying to figure out how to help them solve that problem.
And I think you should do that in all your communications, not just your website. You're doing it in face-to-face meetings. You're doing it on the phone calls. You're doing it in brochures, whatever that looks like.
Absolutely. Do you see that transition happening in business more and more? People
I think so. I think that now that content marketing is becoming more well known, people are understanding the philosophies behind it. People are understanding that the customers have the power. Really, I think smart brands, dynamic brands that are open-minded and that are growing understand this better, and they're more open to it. Yeah, for sure.
You know what's amazing, Laura, is content is the foundation of marketing in today's world. Like, I've had people want to do SEO without content. I've had people want me to build them a website without content. I gave them their money back because it was a hair salon, and they wouldn't even provide me with a logo or with content, with pictures, with the story behind anything. They just want me to build them a website. It's like, it's like you wouldn't go to somebody asking them to build you a house without putting any input yet. How can you expect me to do this? And it's amazing. Like, content, it's so key to like doing everything. You know, Anyway, I know I'm just talking, but it's like, it's just I just want to reiterate to people listening, like, what she's saying is so true. Like, you have the content because you need content for Google ads, you need content for Facebook ads, you need content for articles, you need content for lead magnets if you're going to provide those, and blog posts, and you can't market without it. You know.
It's hard, I think, because people always want to attach a tangible ROI to everything. So people are ROI crazy. They're like, okay, so if I do this, what am I going to get from it? And that's not how content marketing works. You don't immediately get something from investing in it. It's the long-term brand building. Exactly. And I think a lot of people go, well, I don't want to pay for photography. Can't you just use stock photography? I don't want to pay for a video because, and they think of a myriad of reasons why they can't do video. But there's so much evidence that if you invest in photography, in video, in stories, in content, you will be so much more successful than the brands that don't. The brands that don't just get forgotten.
Yeah. Oh, you're so true. It's so true. Absolutely. Absolutely. Are there any new technologies or trends you're keeping your eye on?
Yeah, look, I always keep my eye on things like automation because I think a lot of clients go, oh, well, can't we just automate all of this? And a great one is, can't we just automate our social? Can't we just get a robot to write the post and then just splatter it out over all of the platforms? And can't we just automate? Can't we automate blogs?
Yeah.
You know, can we just use some AI to automate this? And look, I think automation has its place in the world, and I think there's some great ways that automation can help improve our lives and so forth, especially in the areas of safety. So if there's a human performing a dangerous job or a role that a robot can do or something auto can do, great, fantastic. I don't think it can replace creativity. I just yet. Anyway, who knows what will happen? And I also just don't think that it can replace the amount of insight, research, intelligence that a human puts into content in terms of relationship building, in terms of understanding the audience deeply. So it's something that I keep my eye on because we do get clients that ask about it.
Yeah. What about automation, like marketing automation platforms moving people in and out of funnels? You know, for instance, someone comes in on a lead magnet funnel, move them into a free consultation funnel, and then they don't convert, and then keep following up with, putting them enroll them in a newsletter campaign. As soon as you start talking automation, that's where my brain went.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that is absolutely fine, right? Because what you're automating is the process, but you're not automating the content necessarily.
No,
someone's still got to write the content pieces for each of that. So I think that is absolutely fine, and that has its place. I think whenever I worry is when people want to automate the whole thing. You know, can't a robot just write the content as well, and can't they use predictive text as to figure out how to respond? I think it will grow. I think it'll grow in popularity, and I think it will become better. But right now, and especially for the companies that I'm dealing with at that level, I just think nothing can replace that human layer of communication.
Absolutely. Do you think AI has a place in content strategy?
Yeah, look, I think it does. I think it does in some instances, although I guess in my personal life, AI stuff drives me a bit nuts. So whenever I go to a website and there's a chatbot on there and it's not a real human,
I know. What is the
purpose of this? If it is creating a barrier to me getting information and slowing information down,
it is.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it. There's no point in it. You're just driving customers nuts.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the owners of Drift would disagree with you, but I agree with you. What about AI assisted content creation, like tools out there that are coming out? Like, I mean, Jasper just did the company in less than 24 months has been evaluated at $1.5 billion, and they did a round of they raised $156 million through Series A funding. So it's interesting that has happened, and there's other players out there that are coming along, but it seems Jasper has just really dominated that market for now. Anyway, what are your thoughts on those types of tools?
I think there's some cool tools out there that can help. I mean, there's a tool that a couple of clients have used before when they're doing it themselves that figures out different blog topics. So, for example, again, creativity is what clients come to us for. I think that's what a lot of companies lack. So for a lot of clients, they go, well, we don't know what to write about. We don't know what the blog topic should be. We don't know what this should be. So there's tools out there that can help them. They can put in a few keywords and they'll have generators that'll go, here's some ideas for topics based on this. And it pulls in I presume that it will pull in search trends and data as to what the public are asking for.
Yeah.
There's a cool tool, for example, called Ask the Public.
Yeah, Ask the Public, yeah.
Yeah, which you type in. So there's things like that I think definitely have merit, especially for people that are doing it themselves. I think for an agency, we don't need to use those tools.
No.
Because we're pretty aware of, how to construct a topic or a title of a blog.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely merit for people that are doing it themselves, for sure.
Absolutely. And, and also, I mean, I would hope, I would think you would agree, like creating the content is also based on, okay, would you agree with this statement that you should create content that's based on keywords that people are, if nobody's searching for it, is it really valid to create a piece of content for it? Probably not, I would say, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm out to lunch.
I think, yes, I think you should definitely include keywords in your content, but you should do it with a human first approach. So the way that we do SEO at our agency is always human first, search second. Yeah. So if you're simply putting in keywords because you think that that's trending or that's a niche thing, or you think, I'm going to be able to rank for this, but you're not so much caring about what the actual content is or who your audience is and what you're trying to do, I agree with you. Then so that's just a wasted effort. You're kind of just spinning out a whole bunch of things to try to rank. Yeah. But if you feel that it's in your area of expertise, you can write on it with authority. It's related to your business. You're not just writing about it because you think it's trending, and it's related to your visitor. The person who visits your website is going to be interested in this. It's going to help them to achieve their goal. Absolutely put keywords in there and do some research around what keywords people are looking for.
Yeah. So do you think it's important to map out the entire, as much as possible, buyer's journey, customer journey, and then and do the keyword research and find out what those certain pieces of content, rather than just doing it a la carte, one post a month as you go? It's probably better to create an overall strategy, budget allowing, correct?
Yeah, I think it's nice when a client has enough data, so they've been trading for a little while. They tend to know how people are interacting anyway.
Sure.
To map out which pieces of content you need for each part of the user journey. So, in awareness, these are all the things that we're doing, and this is how we think customers find us based on data and our experience. This is what we need to produce to help them to consider us over other brands, whatever. This is what they need to make a decision, and this is what we need to nurture them. I think that that's a really nice way to map things out.
Absolutely.
And also to figure out how people's searches change over that time, because obviously someone who's in the brand awareness phase is putting in a very different search query to when they're ready to buy. So I think having some understanding of that is good as well, but make sure that you can be flexible and with it, because obviously people's appetites change over time, trends change, what we search for changes. So making sure that you're looking at that, I would say once a year is a good time.
Absolutely.
To revise your strategy.
Absolutely. Hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you. What's one big takeaway you want listeners to get from this episode?
Just one thing is always hard, but I think I would go back to begin anywhere, whatever that means to you. Yeah. So whether it's experimenting with something new in your business, you may have already had the business for a little while, but you've been thinking about doing something. I think just beginning it is really important. Putting it out there,
absolutely,
figuring out the feedback, being bold in that is really powerful, because naturally we'll feel like we've got to wait until there's a best time, but there's no best time or right time to begin. Yeah. Beginning is what counts.
Yeah. And even if it begins with picking up the phone and calling your agency for help. So with that being said, how can our listeners connect with you online if they want to do so?
Yes. So you can visit us at lep.digital. There's no .com.au. Digital is the extension.
Digital. Cool.
.digital. We're on all the social media channels. You can find me personally on LinkedIn if you want to see what the sort of stuff that I'm writing about. Laura Prael on LinkedIn. There's only one Laura Prael, so you won't miss me.
Only one. Right on.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Matt.
Hey, no problem. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll make sure to put that information in the show notes.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. And thanks again for being here.
Take care.
Okay. Okay, don't go anywhere because I'll just end this. I always forget to tell people that.